Well, it's the end of an era coming up right now on... All right, so what you're going to see here is the new Atlas 3-rail O-scale F7 ABBA set that I picked up, about a year ago. I think I got it in March of 2024. And this is an absolutely gorgeous set. I mean, everything that Atlas makes is gorgeous. But what makes this set really special in my mind is that it's the last, or at least one of the last sets that Atlas equipped with TMCC. As most of you know, Atlas has been partnering with MTH lately, and so all of their new locomotives are equipped with Protosound 3, and I think this was the last set they made to have TMCC, and so in my mind, that kind of makes it a historical set. So we'll get started with the unboxing, and then we'll check out this beautiful model. All right, so here are the boxes that everything came in. I think there's 2 locomotives in each box. The top box is the heaviest, so I'm assuming that probably contains the 2 powered F7A locomotives. The bottom box is lighter, and so I'm guessing that contains the 2 F7Bs, both the powered and non-powered versions, but we'll find out in just a moment. So we'll open the top box first. Now, from my knife collection, and specifically from my Swiss Army knife collection, we're going to use this guy for the unboxing. This is the Victorinox Cheese Master. And it's called that because, well, if you're out on a picnic with your special lady or special guy and you want to have some wine and cheese and maybe some charcuterie or something like that, well, you've got your corkscrew for the wine. Then you've got a special cheese knife. And to top it all off, you've got, oh, where is it? There it is. You've got a fork. Pretty clever. And then, of course, you've got a regular knife that's serrated, and you've also got the toothpick and the tweezers. So, yeah, the Victorinox Cheese Master. Anyway, so let me get the top box ready. All right, and just for some fun, we'll try unboxing it with the cheese knife. See how the cheese knife works on a box. Actually, not too bad. This box is quite heavy. I don't know if they printed the weight on this thing, but it's got to weigh at least 15 pounds or something like that. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 2 locomotives, each in their respective box. And there we go. It's got the model numbers on here, but I still don't know which is which. This is 7.9 and this is 8.0, so maybe this is the lead F7A. Let's find out. Now you'll notice this is the regular Atlas Master Series box. It's not the honeycomb box that's typical of XMTH stuff that Atlas is now making. This is old school Atlas Master Series. This is the OG Atlas here. All right, so let's see. F7A Phase 1 early powered locomotive, item number 301-38079, CNO number 7024, 3-rail. And of course, it's a CSX licensed product. Now, because this is not XMTH, it's original Atlas stuff, this does have Lionel's rail sounds on it. The XMTH stuff has PS3 because it came from MTH. And original Atlas stuff always has TMCC with sort of a rail sounds light sound library. All right, there's the instruction booklet. F-Unit Series locomotive. Ooh. I got a feeling this is going to look incredible. Original Atlas stuff is probably some of the most detailed stuff on the market, and so these are surely not going to disappoint, and it doesn't. Look at that. That looks fantastic. Wow. And I'll be able to run this with some of my MTH chassis passenger cars. Beautiful detailing. That is what Atlas is all about. Now we've got some cool stuff in the box. So of course we've got spare traction tires, and we've got a scale coupler if you want to mount it. And we've got some screws to install hardware, but the really cool part is this. This is a scale pilot that you can install on the front of one of these if you don't want to have that ugly looking O-gauge pilot that swings around and has that big lobster claw coupler. You can install this. I did a review a long time ago. I think it was on a Burlington F7 set, and I showed how to install one of these. I highly recommend doing it because honestly, you're usually not going to couple anything to the front of one of these anyway because it looks so beautiful on the front. Why block it? And so installing this scale pilot makes it look so much better. I'm going to do it to this one as well, and you'll see it later in this video. All right, and this is probably the other powered F7A unit. Yep, this is the other F7A powered, road number 7025. So this will go at the other end with the two B units in between. Absolutely gorgeous. Now this one also has a scale pilot that you can install, but I'm not going to install it on this one because this is the tail unit. This is going to couple to the rest of my train, which does use these big O-gauge couplers. So I won't do it on this one, but I will do it on the lead unit. Now I'll talk more about this later, but I want to mention that those scale pilots that you can install on the front of those F7s, I don't know how Lionel is going to do it on theirs, but on these Atlas units, it is a permanent change. You cannot reverse it and go back to the O-gauge coupler because you have to use a Dremel tool and cut off certain parts of the truck and so forth to remove that big O-gauge coupler. And so it is a permanent change, not reversible, or at least not easily reversible. All right, so these are the two B units. This one is heavier, so I'm guessing this is the powered B unit. Let's see if I'm right. Actually, this cheese knife isn't too bad. Works pretty well. And yeah, this is the powered F7B, road number 7610. Oh yeah. Just as gorgeous as the cabbed versions. And lastly, here's the non-powered F7B, road number 7505. And there is the non-powered B unit. Looks great. All right, so here we have the whole ABBA setup on the layout, and this thing looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. Now, the eagle-eyed among you may notice that I've already put the scale pilot on the front of the lead unit. So what I'm going to show you now is a speeded up sort of time-lapsed version of the install that I did on this model. If you're really interested and want to see a full video that thoroughly documents the process, I'll put a link to that video that I did several years ago up in the corner. Also, because this video does have chapters, if you don't want to watch the install part, feel free to skip over it to the next chapter. So that's how you install the fixed pilot on the front of the Atlas F7A units. Anyway, so moving on, let's go over some stats on this set so that you know what you're getting into. So Atlas offered these new F7s in their winter 2021-22 catalog, and they took quite a while to arrive. They finally showed up in March of 2024. So we've got 4 units here. We've got 2 F7A powered units. They've got motors, sound, smoke, lights, the whole works. We've got an F7B that's powered right here that has a smoke unit and sound. And then we've got an F7B that's unpowered without any sound or motors or smoke or anything. Now, the length of each of these units is right around 12 inches, and the combined length of the entire set, if you get the ABBA setup that I have here, is right at 51 inches. Because each of these units is relatively short, they do have a nice minimum curve requirement, and that is 0.36. When I weighed each of these units, the powered F7As weigh in at about 4 pounds 2 ounces. The powered F7B comes in right at 4 pounds, and the non-powered F7B comes in at 2 pounds 14 ounces. Now, each of these units on their own has just under 2 pounds of pulling power, but the combined pulling power of this entire set, which contains 3 powered units and 6 motors, is right at 5 pounds 6 ounces, which is outstanding. Basically, what that amounts to is that you can pull pretty much anything you want to with this setup. Now, of course, being a legacy Atlas product, this does have TMCC and Rail Sounds Lite on board. That is the sort of truncated TMCC/sound package that Atlas licenses from Lionel. Weaver used to use the same thing, and Third Rail still uses the same thing. So if you've ever run anything with classic TMCC, you can expect a similar experience here. And of course, these sound effects are similar to other TMCC items you may have operated. And anybody who's operated a TMCC locomotive versus a legacy, you know that the TMCC locomotive, it's going to be adequate, it's going to run just fine, but you're not going to have near as many options, and the sound effects are not going to be nearly as diverse as with a full-on legacy-equipped locomotive. The sounds in these things are actually pretty similar to the sounds that Lionel is using in their Line Chief Plus 2.0 products these days. But as I said in the intro, that's all changing. I believe this is the last TMCC equipped set that Atlas produced. Because of their new partnership with MTH, they are outfitting all of their newer locomotives with Protosound 3. So yeah, in my mind, this might end up being kind of a historic set because it's the end of one era and the beginning of another. The end of TMCC for Atlas and the beginning of Protosound 3. And personally, for me, the transition from TMCC and Rail Sounds Lite to DCS and Protosound 3 is sort of bittersweet. On the one hand, when these things come out next time and they have PS3, you're going to get much more accurate sounds, much more accurate control, many more sounds and features, and you're going to get a whole host of abilities that these older TMCC equipped sets never had. And so in that sense, I think Atlas switching from TMCC to PS3 is a big improvement. I mean, I've said this before, Atlas makes incredible stuff, but in my opinion, their Achilles heel has always been that sort of truncated TMCC Rail Sounds Lite package. It sort of saddled these beautifully detailed sets with ancient technology and old sound effects. So yeah, in general, I'm a big fan of Atlas moving from TMCC to DCS. On the other hand, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me, the old school sound effects that came with these TMCC sets was quite endearing. I mean, it had this sort of old school TMCC sound. A lot of people think they sound better than the modern legacy engines. And for me, my favorite thing is that because all 3 of these units have sound, when you have that Rail Sounds Lite prime mover sound coming from all 3 units and this thing is coming down the rails, you get this beautiful, hypnotic, mesmerizing sort of oscillation between the sound effects on the units. And it's impossible to explain in words. You just have to hear it in person. You can kind of hear it over the video too, but it is just a magical sound, and every time I hear it, it makes me want to curl up on the floor and go to sleep. It is so hypnotic and relaxing and mesmerizing. I love it. And of course, you're going to lose that when these things go to PS3. And so I will miss that part, but again, overall, I think the transition from TMCC to PS3 is going to be a good thing for Atlas. But if you love those TMCC old school sound effects, you better get one of these sets while you can, because the next time this set comes out, I guarantee it'll have DCS with ProtoSound 3. All right, so at this point, I feel like I've been talking for about an hour, so that's enough talk. Let's go ahead and start this thing up and take it for a spin. right, so there you have it, the Atlas 3-rail O-scale F7As and Bs. These things are fantastic, and I'm really glad I picked these up. Like I said, the times are changing, and the next time these come out, they will most certainly have PS3 on board rather than classic TMCC. So if you're a big classic TMCC fan, you might want to pick these up while you can. You can still find these for sale from various Atlas dealers. Now, the prices on these were actually pretty reasonable for this day and age when you consider how expensive everything else has gotten. The powered units, regardless of whether it's an A or a B, those have a retail price right at $550, and the non-powered B units retail for $240. So yeah, all in all, not bad. And of course, if you go through a good Atlas dealer, they will probably get you a little bit of a discount off that full retail price. If you like this channel and you'd like to support it, it would be greatly appreciated. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. Patreon supporters get access to all sorts of perks and benefits, and you can read about those benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters, and an extra super big heartfelt thank you goes out to my premium tier Patreon supporters. You'll see their names at the end of this video. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. To discuss this model and any other O-gauge trains, check out the O-Gauge Railroading online forum at ogrforum.ogaugerr.com.